Hey Dirt Magicians, today I'm here with Ashton and he's going to show me how to make a cucumber archway trellis. He was a member of the Groville pilot about 3 years ago when he was just 19 years old, and at the time he had never put a seed in the ground. But now he has over 6 garden beds, a greenhouse, and he's also running a teaching garden, which is where he has opened up his garden to teach beginner gardeners on how to grow food using hands-on learning. So, Ashton, where did you find all of the materials for the trellis?
Thanks for the introduction, Dee. All of these materials came from a home hardware store, even the chicken wire, so it's accessible to everyone. All right, let's get into the first steps in building this cucumber archway. Step 1. Make sure the cucumbers are at least 3 feet apart so there's space for an archway. In this case, we're going to do 6 feet apart to make the arch a bit wider so we can easily walk underneath it. Step 2. Cut the 2x1 inch piece of lumber to the height you want for the trellis. In our case, we chose 6 by 2 inches as that's the height of Dee's husband, Keith, who is the tallest member of Dee's family. So he will be the designated cucumber picker as these cucumber plants can grow very tall. Also, if you don't have a saw, you can pre-measure your width, length, and height and take it to any hardware store and get it pre-cut for you. Step 3. Attach the wood posts to the garden bed. To do this, we are going to bury the posts into the garden bed on either end in the middle. We want to make sure that they are slightly in front of the cucumbers so the cucumbers are able to fall onto the trellis as they grow. Then we will drill 3 screws through the garden bed and into each one of the 4 posts. Our screws are slightly longer than the wood, so we are not going to drill them all the way through to avoid getting poked by the ends while gardening. Step 4. Make a post to be hammered into the ground to support the chicken wire arch. Do this by cutting one 2x1 inch post to be 7 feet. It needs to be taller than the other posts as we will be hammering it into the ground. Cut a V at the bottom to make a spike so that it will be hammered into the lawn more easily. Then mallet or hammer the post into the ground. The last part of the support is attaching this 4x1 inch piece of lumber to the top of the post.
Ashton, you forgot to list the most important support.
I am? What is it?
The like button, of course, because that'll support the archway trellis video in the YouTube world for those that are gaining value from the video.
Ah yes, once the like button has been added, we can move on to step 5. Which is getting the chicken wire ready to be laid across as an arch. Do this by laying the chicken wire over the 4 posts and the middle support. You may need some friends to help. Cut the chicken wire to the length you want with wire cutters. You can get the chicken wire to start about a foot off the garden bed on either side. Step 6. Zip tie the chicken wire to the posts on one side of the archway. Our chicken wire was a bit too wide for the posts, so we are going to fold it in and attach it with zip ties to ensure that Dee's daughter can run through the garden without being worried about being poked.
I am super stoked to have this trellis, not only because it's beautiful and it adds that magical component to my garden, and it's also great for pest and disease prevention. What's great about this trellis is that it lifts my cucumber plants off of the wet soil, which means that it prevents pests from climbing up the plants, and it is also great for airflow, which keeps powdery mildew and other diseases at bay. I'm not a fan of spraying, and I've learned so much from Brie about pest and disease management in a way that is more preventative than having to react and spray things in the garden.
Yeah, Dee, I agree. I have 6 garden beds right now, and thanks to what Bree's taught me, I haven't had to spray anything to deal with pests or diseases. And I'm super happy with how healthy my garden is.
And because this information has been so useful, we wanted to share it with others. So we made a mini course on pest and disease management done the ecological way, from identification to monitoring and control. If you want to access the course, you can check it out in the description box below.
Actually, step 7 is to pull the chicken wire tight over the support. As you can see, it's quite loose and flimsy at the moment. Then pull it down to the other side. You may need to cut more chicken wire off the bottom. Then, step 8 is to fold the chicken wire over and zip tie it to the post. Our final step is to cut the ends off the zip ties to avoid being poked. And that's your archway.
I prefer not to be poked while I'm gardening, so thanks, Ashton. Wow, this looks so pretty and unique. I think Keith and I can almost renew our vows under this archway trellis. How much did the materials cost for putting this trellis together?
It came to about $75 for all the materials, not to mention we have tons of leftover chicken wire for other trellises. And if you want to take down your trellis in the winter, you can reuse your materials and save them for next year.
Considering a pre-made archway trellis like this would cost about $150 to $200 to buy off the shelf, this is really a great deal. All right, Dirt Magicians, if you thought Ashton's cucumber trellis was handy, then make sure to check out another trellis video where he walks me through how to build a robust tomato trellis. See you next time.